What is your dream life? So I'm not gonna lie, the thing that I've been thinking about the most, like right now, by far more than anything, is if I had all of the money in the world, if I had everything, if everything was solved, if everything was paid, if I could, live anywhere, if I could, have anything I want, if I had like all of the money in the world, how would I live? Or what is my dream life? What is the life that I actually want to live? And I've been journaling about this and I've been researching about this for a while now, not gonna lie. And this is the thing I've been thinking about the most, more than anything, honestly, like right now, is what is my dream life? I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like when I was a young kid, my dream life was yachts and supercars and the most expensive villa or like the biggest house or the materialistic, living in New York or in Beverly Hills or like these massive places. And I would always watch how The Rock spends his millions or how Floyd Mayweather spends his millions, those types of videos. And I was just obsessed with materialism, right? But just the more I grow as a man, right, the more I get onto self-improvement, the more I understand myself. That's not it at all. In fact, that's the exact opposite of what I want. The thing is, that's the thing we always see on Instagram and on YouTube even and on, all these social media platforms is, the massive yachts in Monaco or like the very, very large mansions and like the estates and all these materialistic lifestyles, right? And all these girls on yachts and smoking and being degenerates. But really, I think the dream life for me, and I think the best life, this is just my opinion, but the best life for us as young men on self-improvement, we're trying to become the best men we can, we're trying to become the best versions of ourselves, it's honestly the simple life. It's the simple life. Living in the countryside, living in a village, in a small house, making your own food, meditating in nature, journaling in nature, right? Having like your own home gym, having all these things and just improving every day. In the countryside, in nature, in your own like house with your feminine, beautiful wife, with your children. That's literally the best life for us. It's just living in the countryside. Just think about it, right? Like it's way cheaper, way cheaper to live in the countryside. And it's way healthier. You eat your own organic food, you move around, you're in nature, right? You're surrounded by nature. You have other people around you, right? In fact, that's actually how we've lived for all of humanity. We've always lived around nature. We've always lived in like little tribes and in little huts, right? That's how we've always lived. This modern, all these modern buildings and all these modern, yachts and mansions and supercars, these are all very, very new inventions, right? These are very new things. The right way for us as human beings to live, the healthy way for us, the way that's best for our physical health, for our mental health, for our social health, even our spiritual health, is to just live in a house that's surrounded by nature. Eat your own organic food from your like your little farm, right? Spend time with other people around you. Yeah, I think that's the best way for us to live, honestly. Is to just live in the countryside. And bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, I've just been obsessed with that thought. Like just imagine you wake up in the countryside, you wake up like surrounded by nature in a house, it's peaceful, it's very, very calm, there's no noise, there's no, loud noise around you, it's just peace. And you wake up next to your beautiful feminine wife, and you get up and you take a cold shower, and your home it's not the biggest home, it's not a massive home, it's just a normal home. It's just a normal home. Right? You know, you're in this wooden house that has like a campfire, and it has a gym, and it has bathrooms, and it has, you know, bedrooms. It's just a, you know, normal home in the countryside. And you wake up, you take a cold shower, and then, you know, you get out in the blissful sun in nature, and you meditate and you journal in nature, right? You're breathing full oxygen. You're actually breathing fully. You're breathing like clean air. And then, you know, you finish, you know, your wife, you get into the house, your wife makes you some food from the farm that you own. You eat the food with your children, and you laugh, and, you know, you have fun, right? And then you go, you exercise. Maybe you hit like a massive workout, or maybe you run, you know, in like the fields, right? Or maybe you go for a swim in the lake. Like, that's how we've always lived as Homo sapiens for like 100,000, 200,000 years. We've always lived like that. And then you finish, you know, you get into your house, you sit in like a chair next to the wooden campfire, right? And you read for hours and hours and hours. And then, you know, you get in bed with your wife, and then you go to sleep. Like, that for me, that is the dream life. And I think the more you get onto self-improvement, the more you improve yourself, and the more you even get closer to God, the more you understand that the simple life is the best life. You know, that simple life where you're in a house in nature with your family, that's worth trillions. That's, no money can match that life. Even though it's so cheap to live that life. Cheap in financial terms, in material terms, but it's priceless, it's timeless. That life, that's the life that I want to live. You know, like, so many people, I see like so many, and I understand like so many young men are obsessed with like supercars, and like who has like the best, the Porsche and like the Lamborghini, and I don't know, like the Ferrari. I don't know anything about supercars at all. Like, I suck at anything involving cars. I don't know anything about it. But I know so many young men are just obsessed with them. And I just think, like, why? Why? Like, what is the purpose of a car? It's to get you to a destination. Okay, what about, I don't know, like a Toyota? I'll just buy a Toyota car, or a Mitsubishi car, or a Nissan car. Like, why do I have to buy like the most fastest Lamborghini, or the fastest Ferrari, or like the fastest? Bro, who cares? Who cares? I just want a car that, you know, is comfortable and will get me to my destination, that I can rely on. That's it. That's it. And the thing is, people are so obsessed of what they think other people will think of them. So they, you know, they try to impress other people who don't even care about anything. Everyone thinks about themselves. But the thing is, everyone thinks about themselves, and because they think so much about themselves, they think that everyone thinks about themselves, thinks about them. It's the spotlight effect, basically. So they keep trying to impress other people with these cars, with these watches, with, you know, these bags. Oh, I bought a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag. You bought a bag that's $5,000, and there are 5,000 children starving in Africa. Think about that, man. Think about that. Like, we forgot our humanity. We forgot what makes us human. We forgot our roots. The meaning of life is to grow. It's to love each other. It's to serve each other. It's to be grateful for life. It's to be present. It's to take care of ourselves. It's to take care of our health. It's to take care of each other. That's the meaning of life. Not to try to impress others. Or, you know, you bought a supercar that's $200,000, $300,000, like the most expensive supercar. And the thing is, like, you're gonna use it for like a couple of weeks, and then you're just gonna get used to it. Then you're just gonna get used to it. You're just gonna get used to, oh, then it's the same car. Yeah, it's fast, but who cares, right? It's that dopamine rush in the beginning. It's that, you know, oh, it's brand new. It's a brand new, I don't know, like the most famous cars, like the Ferrari, LaFerrari, I don't know, right? It's the fastest, most expensive car in the world, right? And you just gonna get used to it. Who cares? And I think, you know, Navarro Ravikant says something which I love, which is, don't play status games, play money games. You know, the money game is a positive sum game. You know, trying to be rich, trying to be wealthy, it's a positive sum game because you solve other people's problems and they give you money. So you win and other people win. It's positive sum, right? But status games are always, you know, the person at the top wins everything. And the thing is, it's so shallow because you're trying to impress other people who you think will be just so impressed that you bought this new car. But the reality is they don't care at all. They just care about themselves. The thing is, all the influencers who are so obsessed with that lifestyle, with that materialistic lifestyle, you know, Hamza, he said he wants to live in the countryside and he wants to homeschool his children in England, right? Even Iman Gadzhi, he started living in the countryside. Charlie Morgan said the same thing. Like, all these influencers who were just so obsessed with the materialism and with like the life of consumerism, they just understood that, hey, it's not worth it at all. It's not worth it. I know this is just my opinion at the end of the day. Like, who am I to judge you? You can do whatever you want. But for me personally, and what I think, the best life for us as young men, this is just my opinion, but the best life for us as young men on self-improvement is to live in the countryside, is to live in a house surrounded by nature with your family. That's the best life. What is the best life for me personally? You know, I want a place that's surrounded by like Orthodox churches, right? Where there's like so much nature and like mountains and, you know, wooden houses, right? Probably like in Eastern Europe, somewhere like that. Go to like Romania or Belarus or somewhere like that, you know? Marry a beautiful feminine woman there for life and just live there for life, honestly. You know, have like my farm, have like my home gym in my wooden home, right? And have like 5 or even 10 children. That's my dream life, honestly. It's not a school. It's not a school. You know, it's not as cool as saying, oh, I want to live in New York, or I want to live in like this massive mansion, but really? Like, who cares? Like, I promise you, no one cares that you live in this massive mansion. And the thing is, the reason that all these people do it is because they just want to show other people that they're rich. But it's so shallow, man. It's so shallow. Like, it's so hollow. Like, you will feel a gap in your soul. This is what I've heard from people who have lived this materialistic lifestyle. People like Charlie Morgan, for example, he's talked about this. And Hamza, they both talked about this. You know, when you live that materialistic lifestyle, you have this hole in your soul. Because you're every day, you know, you're going to parties, you're being a degenerate, you're having sex with women you don't even want to marry or want to date, right? You're eating all this processed junk food that has tons of things that you don't even know exist. Right? It's so shallow, man. Like, that lifestyle. And yeah, like, I think that's how I want to live. Go to Eastern Europe, right? Romania, Belarus, Greece, Ukraine, but there's a war in Ukraine and Russia. Pray for Ukraine, but like, yeah, live in Eastern Europe, somewhere like Romania or Belarus or Greece, somewhere like that. marry a woman there, and just live in the countryside in that country. That's the dream life for me. And you know, every day I meditate and I journal, you know, and I play with my kids, I make love to my wife, right? I read for hours, you know, I exercise every day. That's the dream life, man. That's the dream life. Maybe for you it's something different. Maybe, you know, you're American, you want to live in somewhere like West Virginia, right? Or East Pennsylvania, you know, somewhere like that, right? In like the American countryside. Maybe you're English and you want to live in the English countryside. Maybe you're a Muslim man and you want to live in somewhere that's very like strict on Islam, right? And you just want to marry a Muslim woman for life, right? You know, for everyone it's different, but I think the core of it is life in nature, life surrounded by mountains, life in a villa, right, or a wooden villa, or like a small house in nature with your family, with your kids. That's the dream life. And this is actually not just for us as men. You know, I've actually researched about this a lot, and I found that actually a lot of women don't want to live that urban, degenerate lifestyle, that casual sex, you know, alcohol and drugs, that, you know, that very degenerate lifestyle. There are so many women who are going to live in the countryside and who want to be feminine housewives, right? So yeah, I think that's the best life for us as young men, in my opinion, is to just live in a house in nature with your family and just improve. And just improve every single day. You meditate in nature, you journal, you know, you have your own home gym, you work out there, you know, you play with your kids in the farm, right? You have your own farm, you have your own chickens, and you have your own cows and cattle and sheep and goats. And you know, you swim in the pond with your friends, and that's the life we've always lived as humans, man. And like, think about it, like really think about it. Like, what would make you the happiest? What would make you the most fulfilled? Would it be a day that is full of self-improvement, full of, you know, accomplishments and accomplishing goals? Like, you know, you meditate for 1 hour and you journal for 1 hour. You read for like 3-4 hours, right? You work out for like 2 hours straight, right? Just hard, intense workouts. That day, or a day where, you know, you wake up late, where you drank alcohol next to a woman you don't even know, and you know, you're just addicted to this casual sex lifestyle, and you know, keep drinking drugs, and yeah, you have a supercar, yeah, you live in like a massive penthouse, and you have all these materialistic things, but you're depressed, and you want to kill yourself, and you wake up full of sweat and drenched in sweat. What would make you the most fulfilled? What would make you happiest? Because the thing is, what makes us the most fulfilled as men, or as human beings even, but especially as men, is growth, is improving, is becoming the best versions of ourselves. That's what makes us the most fulfilled, not some materialistic things like supercars or watches or suits even, or fashion or whatever. Like, none of that matters, man. And I'm not saying, you know, don't spend money. What I'm saying is share it with other people. Share it with others. You know, if you have a lot of money, yeah, you can spend it on yourself. Yeah, you can spend it on yourself as much as you want. But share it with other people. And the thing is, you will be way, way, way happier when you share with other people than when you spend it on yourself. And there is tons of research supporting that. They actually did a study where they got 2 groups of people. One group of people went into Starbucks and they bought a drink for themselves, and another group bought a drink for someone else. So they told someone else, hey man, can I buy you a drink? And they bought it for someone else, right? and they found the person who bought a drink for someone else was significantly happier than the person who bought something for themselves. So, yeah, I feel like I've been rambling a lot here, but the point I'm trying to make is, honestly, I've just been thinking about this more than anything. This lifestyle of living in like the rural countryside, right? That's like Eastern Europe. That for me is like the best dream life, and I've been thinking about it like every time before I go to sleep. I think about that. I visualize that lifestyle, and that's really how I want to live. I think that's the best life for us as young men. So tell me what you think, and as always, we're in this together, and we will make it.